Welcome, fellow Pie Jump Out Putty Man here. Welcome to episode 3 of Wandavision. Now, we are going to be talking about the newest episode of Wandavision that takes place in the 70s. We are going to be talking about any Easter eggs and talking about how good the episode was, which this one was actually definitely better than the first two. Definitely got a lot more Easter eggs. I'm a little bit confused on some things, and I don't know if maybe there's good and bad in things. So, um, before we get into this video, make sure you hit the like button. Also, if you can, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. It'd be appreciated. It helps a small YouTuber like myself out when it comes to making these videos. Okay, so we do first start off with what is the intro to the episode, which is in the form of a 70s like Brady Bunch show. And then we do end up with Wanda with the doctor. Now, of course, the doctor is obviously checking on her because of the baby, and so we are aware that the babies were supposed to be born, or the babies were supposed to, be becoming anyway because she's pregnant in the episode 2. Um, now, Vision at one point does realize that the time lapse for her pregnancy is a little odd, and there are some things that make him realize something odd is going on. Because if you notice, when he's with the neighbor starts cutting through the brick, which, first and foremost, I don't know how he's cutting with hedge clippers into the brick. I think that's a sign of things are a little bit different than they, actually should be. So, I don't know how to interpret that. But anyway, so, you can tell in this scene when he stops cutting that he feels strange. But I'm starting to realize one thing, and we're going to get into that later, that the whole strange thing, I don't think it's them feeling strange because they don't know where they're at. I think it's them feeling strange for particular other reasons now. And we'll get into that later. So, as we go through, we do see them actually working in the bedroom, and they mention baby names. They mention actually at around 6:07, I think it is. Yeah, around here, he mentions Tommy and Billy. Now, if you're not aware, let me go and show you that real quick. Tommy and Billy are the actual kids that Vision and Wanda have, but it's really kind of skewed when it comes into comic books because in the comic books, the children are born from fragments of a demon lord named Mephisto, and there has been rumors that the actor that played Quicksilver in the Fox universe plays Mephisto in this, but we're not even seeing any signs of Mephisto. Only thing I can think of is maybe Ralph as Mephisto, and we are going to have Quicksilver. And the reason I state that is because of what happens later, which we will get into that as well. So, of course, at one point around 9:04, we do notice that um, Vision gets suspicious here. But then instantaneously, which I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mute the sound, we actually see that when she gets suspicious right there, if you look, boom, blink. Do you see that? It blinks into like a rewind. Now, I think that at first I was suspicious that maybe um, someone else was doing that, but that definitely is her. She's definitely got control of things. So this actually leads into what I'm understanding when there's two things going on, and I'm going to be going back to the final point of what I think is going on and how my suspicions ring true. Okay, so after this, um, we go into the commercial, and then this is like an '80s Calgon commercial. If you're not familiar with it, and so when we get to it, we also see this right. Let me get to it real quick. We see this right here. So it says Hydra Soak. Now, of course, you're familiar, just like I am, with the Hydra logo. I've actually put the Hydra logo at the bottom of the screen here. If you're not familiar with it, Hydra is a major part of the Red Skull from Captain America, and they infiltrated Shield, if you remember. Um, so I have some theories about what's going on when it comes to Hydra, and altogether when it comes to um, S.W.O.R.D as well. So when we return back to the from the commercial, we notice that of course she's gotten bigger, or not bigger, but she's going into labor, and she hears a noise from the bedroom. Now I was suspicious of this at first until I realized this is the stork that you see later in the episode. But then the door knocks, and we end up seeing Geraldine. Okay, so Geraldine is actually what I'm thinking is Monica Rambeau. Now, if you don't not familiar with who that is, this is actually Photon in the comics. She's part of the Captain Marvel universe. You'll probably remember her, where her mother was actually the one that Captain Marvel visited in a thing, and then she had a small child. This is her as an adult, Monica Rambeau. Now, this is where we start to get into a lot of things that I think is going on. So as we move on into the episode, we notice that the stork is a big significance, of course, of her having the baby, um, which, of course, she gets concerned with Geraldine noticing. And of course, then, of course, Wanda goes into starts giving birth, and Geraldine is there. Now, things start going crazy in the house. Things are messing up. Things are moving, and Geraldine is at first like, "That's odd," but continues on normally. Um, I should have been suspicious about that early on, to be honest with you, but it's kind of there's a payoff to it later why she's not odd. So Wanda gives birth to the first baby, which is Tommy, aka Tommy is actually Speed. And then, of course, she gives birth to the second baby, which is Billy, aka Wicked. Now, um, you have to understand, she never really actually gives birth to these kids. Again, in the comic book, there was a fragment of Mephisto. So I don't know because the thing here's the thing that's another thing that makes things a lot weirder. In the comic books later on, after the world is altered back, um, Tommy and Billy both have different last names, the Billy Kaplan and Tommy Shepard, but early on it's William and Thomas. Of course, Billy and Tommy are short for William and Thomas. So they definitely use the shorter names in this series, in the series. They're definitely making some changes when it comes to it. Now, here's the thing though: they're both mutants, just like they are in the X-Men world. So that leads me to the next thing. So Wanda says to Geraldine that she was a twin. Um, and that's when she's speaking about Quicksilver from Age of Ultron, if you remember in the movie. And this makes Geraldine, actually snap into place. And she says he was killed by Ultron, which again was in the Age of Ultron series. And then that's when Wanda gets suspicious, asking, what did you say? What did you say? And Geraldine tries to block it off. Like, there's something, and let me get into this in just a second. But the reason I bring that up is because then we have the part right here with Ralph and Agnes. They both say she came here, or she came here because we're all, and she's talking about Geraldine. Here's the thing: it's like these two are both aware. Ralph and Agnes are aware of the world. Geraldine, on the other hand, snaps back in like doing the Ultron thing and then back. And they said that Agnes says she has no home. And I'm thinking what they're saying is they have no home in the universe. So why is she in the neighborhood is basically what they're suspicious of. But then um, they say again that she came here because we're all, and then stops, and then moves on. Again, there was the whole Agatha thing, her being Agatha. I'm not sure about that. Also, I want to go ahead and say that I think Vision might even be a real person and not actually be Vision. And I have a reason to point that out, which I will point that out at the end. And this is where we get to Geraldine's necklace, which has the sword icon. Now, as you saw before, the sword logo was actually in episode 1 and episode 2. Um, And then I actually thought that they were the ones that were controlling or investigating this stuff. Here's what I think is happening. Um, and this is going to lead all to some of the things I feel at the end. You know what? I'll do my hypothesis after we go through the rest of the episode. So after the suspicious behavior of Agnes and Ralph, we find that Vision comes in asking where Geraldine is. And that's when Wanda says Geraldine had to rush home. And then after that, we see that there actually is a Westview. So here's the thing I want to say right now. There's a lot of like barricades and then houses. So I have an idea of what's going on, and it's going to go into my hypothesis. But as we go in, we see that Geraldine right here is put back into the real world, and then we see vehicles here. Now, I was trying to see if I could see any logos or anything like that, because you see it's like a military base. And so I have a huge hypothesis and everything, and I don't know if this is actually S.W.O.R.D or... I don't think it's S.W.O.R.D at all, I'll be honest with you. I think this might be Hydra. Let me explain, okay? Geraldine is supposed to be Photon, okay? And if you remember, her mother was dealt with the military. I think what's going on is that Hydra has Wanda, aka Scarlet Witch, in custody, and Wanda is warped her own world, and Hydra is making her. See, the thing is she's just starting. If you noticed in the movie, she's really starting to realize her powers. So maybe in a lot of ways, she's wanting this to happen because she wants the life that she wants. And in the same point, Hydra is using her and watching, or using her. That's why we see the Hydra symbols in the commercial and everything else. But I think what's happening in return is that S.W.O.R.D is trying to jump in and help. And so that's why we see that, like, again, it's still confusing because then we do see S.W.O.R.D is actually watching, which could be with satellite feed because S.W.O.R.D is based in the sky. And if you don't remember, in Captain Marvel, at the end of Captain Marvel, you do see Nick Fury is at a S.W.O.R.D base. I'm not Captain Marvel, but Spider-Man Far From Home. So, with the Spider-Man Far From Home reference, which the S.W.O.R.D, Photon, which is Captain Marvel, I think that S.W.O.R.D is trying to help Wanda, while Hydra is trying to use her to alter reality. It's very confusing, to be honest with you. I don't know where their target is with that, but we do see people breaking in and out of like spells, and whether or not they are with her or not is really weird. So Agnes could be Agatha. I don't know. It's like we were implanted that idea, and she could be a different character. It could have been like a Trojan, because based on the other stories, because they're changing a lot when it comes to the Vision stories and the stories that connect to House of M. So I had planned to make a video about No More Mutants, and I want to go ahead and say what I was going to say in that video because unfortunately I haven't had time to actually make it. Well, I did have time, but other things. Anyway, my point to the whole thing is I think, and this is a hypothesis, I think that mutants existed prior to the MCU, and Wanda was the one that snapped them into another reality, which would be the Fox universe. And that in return, what happened was this was something that Doctor Strange was aware of, and so he ended up telling her that they need to separate mutants from their kind, which brings us to why there's two Quicksilvers but only one Scarlet Witch, because she, in the comic book, she loves her brother so much that she would not want to kill him. So putting him in two different worlds could be plausible. and then it was all because of the Thanos fight. If Thanos had Galactus or even Apocalypse or Mister Sinister at his disposal to use in his battle, he would have won the battle in the Infinity War and Endgame. So I think maybe there was an alternate universe set up by, or not alternate universe, but I think Wanda separated the universes, and that's what we're going to see in the new Doctor Strange is the universes are coming together. So everyone that's saying that Evan Peters, aka Quicksilver, in the Fox universe is going to be playing Mephisto could be right, but I think he's going to play the alternate world of Quicksilver, and the Quicksilver in Age of Ultron had to die in order for the new Quicksilver to come over, or not new, but the other Quicksilver from the Fox universe to come over. I know, it's confusing. But guys, tell me what you think. Make sure you go ahead and comment below on what your opinion on all this is. I also want to thank you all for watching. Again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I, we're opening up a big can of worms, and the next one is going to be based in the 80s. And guess who was born in the 80s? I was. So we're going into my generation. And that's next week, because also no one else is going to have any early access. This is the last episode that a lot of YouTubers had early access. So literally next Friday, I will have all these secrets and everything before anyone else has it. And I can't wait. I'm going to do my review as fast as I can next Friday. So make sure to be here next Friday morning to see the Easter eggs then. But as always, I am Putty Man with GamerPods. Do not forget, we're all about S.W.O.R.D. Peace out. I'll see you guys next Friday.